Hey there, sisters. All right, I'm just getting my camera sorted. Sitting on the pillows. Ooh, a little flash for you. All right. So, we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, I've never invited someone onto chat before, so let me just see how we go here. Jessie on. So while Jessie is coming on, I want to welcome you all. There she is.
Hello, hello.
Hey, beautiful lady. All right, ladies, so this is Jessie. Now, I know Jessie because we have worked together within Get Naked Australia naturist community. So Jessie is also a naked yoga teacher and an advocate for self-love and just being in your authentic truth. And so she is the perfect person that I wanted to come on and be our first ever guest appearance to talk about female body hair. And now I just realized I'm wearing sleeves and I can't show it off.
I thought about that actually. I was like, oh, I'll wear a singlet.
I thought about it yesterday and then put on this dress because I love it and I bought it yesterday from an op shop and completely forgot about the sleeves. But anyway.
Oh, it's fine.
Anyway.
It's there. It's under there.
So Jessie's coming on today to talk female body hair. And I feel like I speak for the both of us when I say that this chat is not just going to be two opinionated women with just one side of the story to try and coax you into believing. We're curious. We're both on the journey of accepting our body in its natural form. We're at different parts of our journey. And I think that's why we feel that we can really chat about this together and be able to share different experiences because we are both at different levels of this journey. So welcoming Jessie on, she is going to start by sharing her story with you about her journey with body hair. Oh, she's dropped out. She will come back on soon, but we are both going to share our stories today. We realize that there is so much on this topic that we want to be able to share with you that we are going to make it two parts. Today is going to be part one, where we are both going to share our stories about what happened to lead us to this point now where we are living in a body with our natural hair. And then next week, we are going to do a part two, where we are going to be really breaking down the stigma and answering a lot of the questions that you've sent in and touching on a lot of the really important topics that you have brought up over the last week since I've been posting about this. So Jessie's about to join us again. There she is.
Hi, I'm back. Oh my God, technology.
So I've just told the ladies that today is part one. We decided to do it in two parts and we're going to be just sharing our stories. So I'm going to sip away at my coffee and I can't wait to hear what your journey's been like.
Absolutely. First of all, I'm freaking excited about this. I just want to start by saying that I posted this on my social media yesterday. I'm at the beginning of my body hair journey and I was just in this bit of a rut and I was struggling and I was like, I'm not sure what to do. So I gave Ricky a call and I was like, fuck, let's talk about this. There's two people do two different parts of their body journeys. And then I realized so many women need to hear this. So many women are in the same boat and they think they're alone. And, but okay, let's get into it. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm too excited about this. So, yeah, I want to start by talking about my body hair journey. And it really got me thinking as well. I know where I am now, but where did it all begin? That was actually a huge question for me. And I sat down and I thought about it. And I just thought, when was the first time I felt embarrassed about my body hair? And it was in year 7. I was sitting in class, my legs were crossed. I looked down and I saw hair on my legs, and I was embarrassed and by this hair. And I was just so naturally, we saw it, we see adults do it, everyone around us. It was like, okay, I shave my legs. That's what I do. So I begged my mom. I was like, I want to shave my legs, want to shave my legs. But the deal was year 8, I could shave my legs. So then, of course, I started doing it because it's what we do. And, but fast forward all through high school, I became very lazy very quickly. And I realized I didn't want to shave. I hated shaving. I hated the time it took to shave, but I had to because it's what you did. And so I would let my leg hairs grow out as long as they could for a month at a time. And what made me shave each time was embarrassment. So I still have memories of sitting there talking to perhaps a boy at the time that I liked and looking down at my legs and just feeling so embarrassed and running home and shaving them. So I realized that's what made me shave each time was the embarrassment. Yet I didn't want to shave, but the thought of not shaving wasn't an option at the time. And I was like, it's just not what you do. And it's what I saw. It's what I saw my mum do. I saw her shave her bikini line whenever she stepped out in shorts, shave under her arms whenever she was in a singlet. It's what we see is what we do. And so, but fast forward, this happened from primary school until where I am now. So let's talk about where my body hair journey actually began. I get so excited talking about this. So the laziness continued up and down, wouldn't shave my legs for ages, but if I was stepping outside in public, the embarrassment would take over, so I'd shave my legs. And then it wasn't until I actually finished my yoga teacher training, quit my job, and then went and lived as a volunteer in a yoga retreat. And I thought this is the perfect opportunity to let my leg hairs grow out and not have to worry about shaving them at all. I was in a safe environment. I felt okay with everyone. And that's when I also decided to let my underarm hairs grow out as well. But funny thing about this is the leg hairs were okay, but now it was the underarm hair I caved and I shaved because yoga classes. This is interesting. Every time I put my arms up in a yoga class, no one was fucking looking at me. Yet I felt it. I was like, oh, no, take the hands down. Yeah, I ended up shaving under my arms after that. Then I think it was fast forward to lockdown. I haven't shaved my legs since the start of the year. I pushed through it. I want to emphasize that I did push through it. It wasn't just I feel great. Look at these leg hairs, loud and proud. No, I was wearing long pants. I was covering them up. I haven't worn shorts in a long time. And then I kept shaving under my arms, but it was lockdown that I let my underarm hairs grow out. And that's when I really started to identify these feelings of embarrassment and shame. And this is where I am now. I'm really sitting with these feelings and I want to know why I feel like this and why I need to shave. And just on this as well, alongside my story, I was having a good think about it. It's a lot of comments are coming up about body hair, about it being gross, it being dirty, it being what? Not
Smelly.
a good look. Sorry.
Yeah. A lot of the women said smelly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like they feel
That's
that
it.
they smell worse when they have body hair. But then a lot of other women are saying the opposite, which is funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Mm-hmm.
that's a personal thing.
Mm-hmm. That's it. It's definitely it. And that's another thing. God, my brain is going. I've got so many things I want to talk about. This is
Yeah.
why it's gonna be a cool part.
Yeah.
On the smell, I'm a fucking sweater. I sweat so much. I have been better since I've had underarm hair, which is interesting. But I've also switched to natural deodorant. But I think this is another conversation. But on these comments of women, I need to admit, I want to be as honest as possible. I was one of those women. I was one of those women who judged other women. And so I really thought about this. So when I judged other women, I just put them into a box. Oh, they must be a lesbian. They must be a hippie. They must be such and such for them not to shave. And
Mhm.
it was as well, last point I want to bring up is when I joined the GNA group and we begun in social nudity was pubic hair. I began to see more and I was very like, oh, okay, what's going on here? Again, I was like, during this lockdown, it's allowed me to face a lot of feelings of why this that says more about me than it does about them.
Mm.
But yeah, it's fascinating. It's so fascinating what has been brought up for me since facing my own body hair journey.
Yes. And something I want to ask you on to just continue on with your story, because we spoke leading up to this. So I know a bit about your journey already, but you are now at that pivotal point in your body hair journey where you are going to be going back to work, back out of your lockdown comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's also now bringing up a lot of different feelings for you. You know, like it's okay when we're at home and it's just our partner seeing us. We don't really have to then go and out into the world and lift up our arms again. But how are you navigating that feeling now, knowing that you are going to be back into society?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I've definitely overcome leg hair because it has been prior to lockdown. I grew that out. Underarm hair is where I'm sitting at, and I'm really struggling. I'm still the push pull. I'm Am I willing to go back to work looking like this? And I'm finding excuses. I work in the fitness industry where it is okay to express yourself. I have massive stretches. I had bright pink hair. They're not going to say anything about underarm hair. It's who I am. They already see me as a big hippie, but yet I'm telling myself, oh, maybe it's not professional to go back to work with underarm hair. Perhaps I should shave it. But again, that's me. And I'm already pre-thinking scenarios of me in the gym with people working out, lifting my arms up. And already I'm putting those feelings on myself, but I'm projecting them on what other people may think of me.
Yep.
And how I'm navigating that, I'm still working through that. It's definitely sitting with the feelings. And for me personally, it's just something that I feel like I have to push past. It's a hump to get over, and I've just got to go for it head on.
Yeah.
It's how I feel about that one. It's not easy. It's just I wish I could say, hey, it's gonna be fine. Go out in public once and you'll be sweet. But it's definitely something you've got to go, okay, I'm here for this. I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I love hearing where you're at because it is kind of making me think back to when I was at your point in my journey.
Mhm.
Because I haven't owned a razor for 6 years. Um,
Wow.
and I can't even remember, you know, I can remember certain aspects of my journey, but there is so much that has just vanished from my memory. Um,
Mhm.
but is there anything else you would like to share before I step into sharing my
No,
journey?
I think that's everything. I'm excited to hear your side of things because I haven't actually heard your journey yet. So I'm excited for
Oh,
this.
I did. We had a body hair chat on here on one of the Wednesday offerings, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. So if you haven't
Mhm.
heard that, I did share a bit of my journey in that. That was more so I was sharing the history of the razor and how women
Mhm.
came to start shaving. But my journey started in high school. I was getting severely bullied for having, you know, two armpit hairs that the guys would see during swimming class. And
Mhm.
I've got very light hair. Like you can't really even see the hairs on my legs. And I can imagine that, 13-year-old me having two armpit hairs. Like it's not even worth fucking worrying about. But I was so severely bullied for my leg hair and my armpit hair that I would come home crying and crying. And it got to the point where I said to my mum, you need to shave my legs. Because I was also afraid of the razor. Like
Oh,
I was
okay.
just, I saw it as like this deathly weapon that's going to gouge chunks out of my legs, which, happened a couple of times. But my mum jumped into the shower with me when I was in grade 8, I think it was grade 8. And she shaved my legs. And I remember running around the house after that, just being in awe of how smooth I was, and going to bed that night and like rubbing my legs together going, oh my God, this is incredible. And we didn't shave my armpit hairs because there was like 2 hairs. We waited until there was more and then started shaving my armpit hairs. But that feeling when my mum shaved my legs was just like, God, I had no idea it felt this nice. And then you go back to school and you think, okay, I've gotten rid of that stuff that was getting me picked on, and then they'll find something else. Like the bullies are never going to leave you alone. So you keep doing these things to your body to try not to be noticed, and there's always going to be something. But that then started my journey of shaving, and it got to the point where like I've got very sensitive skin. And so as I was starting to then shave my armpits and then my bikini line, and I don't think I was ever really taught how to do it properly. Like I was always shaving against the grain. I never knew to go down. And so I was constantly in a rash and having ingrown hairs and pimples because of shaving. And I don't know, I probably wasn't using the most expensive razor, like whatever it was, my body didn't react well to it. And then in grade 12, I, got my first lover, my first partner. And so then I thought I have to stay shaved for them. They won't like me if I was hairy. But it never crossed my mind that I had the choice. It was just something that I did, even though my body reacted badly to it. And if anyone knows, like if you are freshly shaved and then you go and you have sex, your skin is so sensitive. Well, my skin is on like my pubic bone that I would just get rashes. And it was for how long? I reckon about 12 years or something I shaved for. Well, what are you in grade 8? Like 13, and then I stopped at 25. Yeah, so 12 years I shaved because I thought guys wouldn't like me, I wouldn't be attractive, they wouldn't want to have sex with me. And I was never doing it for myself, but always doing it for the validation and the approval of my lovers and just other people, because all the other girls in my school were bald. And so I felt that I had to be bald because then I would get picked on. Like I just did not want to get bullied anymore. I didn't want to do anything to put me in the spotlight to be bullied. And then it just becomes a habit. And then you don't even think about it. And then you just keep doing it regardless of how you feel.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the turning point for you? So at 25, what was the decision to stop shaving?
So 25 was when my whole journey really into my awakening began. And that was because a relationship ended, as most things do. You get your heart broken. One door closes, another one opens. And that was my decision to start stepping into my authenticity and my power. Well, not even that, to just start exploring what that is for me, because I feel I didn't even know who I was. Everything I feel like I did, the way I acted, the way I portrayed myself, was never really who I was. I didn't even know, like you don't know what you don't know until you start awakening and you realize what you were doing. And I feel like I've always been me, but I didn't know who I was. It's such a difficult thing to navigate through once you start to open those doors. But that relationship ended and I was like, okay, Ricky, you're not going to just jump back into another relationship. You're going to take some time to be you. And one of the things that I was then free of doing is having to shave for my lovers. So the first thing I stopped shaving was my legs. I thought that would be the easiest thing. Oh, and I must also say I was a dancer for you can't have armpit hair and, bikini hair when you're in a leotard doing a ballet. So that was also why I had to keep shaving. But I stopped shaving my legs and it was really uncomfortable. And I'd flow between shaving them again just because I wasn't used to feeling the prickliness and the sharpness of it. And then I'd go, no, Ricky, you need to push through, because once it grows out, it won't be spiky anymore. And so I did this back and forth dance with that until they they grew out, and I was like, wow, they're actually not that bad. They're pretty light, and, you know, no one's noticing them. And then I started letting my yoni hair grow out, and that was okay. And it would get to a point where I'd be like, oh, it's itchy, it's uncomfortable, I feel sweaty, is there a funny smell? And so then I'd shave again, and then I'd let it grow out. And again, it was the dance between just getting it to that point where the natural cycle just starts to, you know, take its place. And I'd trim it occasionally, and I'd still get really self-conscious on the beach, so I'd still do my bikini line. And then the armpit hair was the hardest thing, because, you know, legs you can cover, your yoni you can cover. Armpit hair, it's the thing that everyone sees. It's the thing that is the darkest on me also, the thickest on me also. And that was a huge challenge. That was a huge ego killer for me. And that took the longest time for me to come to terms with. I would let it grow out a little bit, and then I'd shave it again, and then I'd let it grow out a little bit. And I want to say that one of the main reasons that pushed me to commit to just letting it all go and then seeing how my body reacted was my cousin, who decided to stop shaving years before me, and was just my total inspiration and motivation, because I watched her go through navigating these waters. And then so I had support and someone to talk to when I was doing it. And so I want to get her on in the future to come and share as well, because she was like my mentor in this world. But being, you know, doing yoga, as you said, and wearing singlets in summer, I wore sleeves. I did not wear singlets. This is how getting used to that armpit hair was. I just never wore singlets. And then when I did, when it was too hot, I'd always have my arms down, and I'd never lift my arms for any reason. I'd maneuver myself in ways that I didn't have to. And it got harder. It was hard. It was harder before it got easier. And then having the judgments from friends and family, and then potential lovers, and what people are going to think of me. And it was difficult. You know, there were people in my family who were just so shocked. And every time I'd lift my arm, you know, it took them a long time to get used to seeing me with the armpit hair, as well as me getting used to seeing it. And then I feel that the armpit hair or the body hair journey happened with all my other journeys as well. Like, I was changing as a woman. And so friends started dropping away. The lifestyle that I was living, before this journey started dropping away. And the people that would judge me for that started dropping away. And the people that would bully me for that started dropping away. And I started calling in and manifesting the people into my life that would support this. So the shift happened in every area of my life, and it was beautiful. And I've never looked back. It took a while to get to that point, of course, but with discomfort comes our growth and our expansion. But I would never look back. And then I started, you know, sleeping with people again and getting lovers. And in the beginning, I felt that I had to pre-warn them. Like, I still was not in my power about having my hair. So if I was talking to someone online and we were going to organize to meet up, or a Tinder date, I would always say, oh, I just want to let you know that, I don't shave, and I, hope that's okay with you. Like, oh, it makes me sick to think that that's what I did. But again, that was me cutting the cords of the validation that I used to link with being a smooth person. And so, but every time they would go, oh, I don't care, that's fine. And so the more that happened, the more I realized that it really doesn't matter. And my partner now, I've been with for 4.5 years, and he has never known me shaved. Like, this is just always what he's gotten. And I think it would be weird for him if I was shaved. But he was the last person that I told that I had body hair. It's such a funny thing that we do to ourselves. But now I just love it. And I'm so comfortable with it. But in saying that, I still have days where I'm not in my power, and I do get a little self-conscious, and I will put on sleeves even though I want to wear a singlet. And sometimes I do now occasionally use sugar wax to do my bikini line. But that's okay. Like, we're going to float in and out of this, and maybe one day I'll start shaving again. I doubt it. But you know, you don't know what the future holds.
That's something I want to bring up as well, that it's your body hair almost becomes not a part of your identity, but it definitely becomes a part of who you are. And if you felt the urge to shave for any reason, would you feel like you have stepped backwards or regressed out of your journey? Or would you
No.
you'd feel along with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would have a moment of, you know, thoughts on it, because it does feel like a bit of a statement. I don't want, like, I'm not growing out my body hair to be a feminist and, you know, to make a big statement on the world, but it does kind of have that feeling.
Yeah.
So if there was something like my cousin who I mentioned earlier, who stopped shaving before me, she was a bridesmaid at her best friend's wedding last year and was asked to shave her armpit hairs because the dresses were sleeveless and they didn't want armpit hair in the photos. So she had this like battle with herself, which I understand. I would too, be like, you can't tell me to do you, you know, this is my body. But at the end of the day, hair is something that's always going to grow back. So it's not like they're asking you to get laser and then you can never grow it back. Just like you with your pink hair, or me with my dreadlocks. When I'm sick of this, shave my head, I'll get hair back, you know?
That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yes. So you can go between, and a lot of the women who commented on our post in that female group said, oh, you know, I shave sometimes and then I don't shave other times, and I just, you know, I just do what I want. And like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, let it grow out, let it come back. And I think it's still back, kind of going off our journeys as well. It's the biggest thing, it's a choice. That is the absolute beauty of it. It is such a choice that you can shave one day and not shave the other. But it's just, I want to ask women just to ask themselves of why they're shaving. I think that's the biggest thing. If it's for expectation, it's choice, it's for society. And letting it grow out doesn't mean letting everything grow wild and grow out. I let my armpit hair grow out and my leg hair, and as I said at the beginning of my journey, but my pubic hair, I choose to trim that. And because that is just my choice, I personally find it super uncomfortable. And I think that's something I just want to share as well, kind of going, it doesn't mean everything's out. And if I want to grow my armpit hair, but shave my leg hair, again, that's a choice. That is the absolute beauty of it. But something I want to swing around back as well is relationships. So definitely going back, and we spoke about this, about, actually, I was talking to Anna about this. So Anna's my partner, and we were talking about when she permission to talk about this. When she was with her previous partner asked her to shave. She's like, hey, I prefer you shaved. I want you shaved. Anna went, yep, absolutely, sure. And we were speaking about this yesterday, and then entering a relationship with me, she asked me, what would you like from me? And I was just like, oh, I can't remember what I said at the time. I wasn't in my body hair journey, but we spoke about this again yesterday, and I was almost annoyed. And I was just like, why do we ask? It's our own body, and it's just such a natural thing to kind of go, oh, you want me shaved? I'll shave. And it's so fascinating. But also another thing we did speak about is, I was previously in a heterosexual relationship. I was with a male, and the thought of not shaving was not even there. It was not an option for me. It wasn't discussed, but it was not an option. I would shave for him because that was most appropriate. And the relationship we were in, I guess it was, I don't know what the word is, but we'd go to a lot of his work events, a lot of family events, a lot of weddings. I would be shaved. I would look appropriate. I would look immaculate. I would have my hair done, expensive dresses, and God forbid I had body hair on me. It's just what it was. It wasn't a question, but entering I don't want to say it's same-sex versus straight relationship, but it was such a shift for me entering a same-sex relationship that my body hair journey wasn't even discussion. It was, Anna looked down at my legs one day and, oh, you haven't shaved. Cool. What's got, like, it was just like, oh, I've decided I don't want to shave anymore. She's like, cool, I'm not going to shave with you. It was
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, she's up and down. She'll like look under her arms and go, oh, I'll shave today. But it's so different. I felt so much in my power, so much power for my own body, and so much of my choice was there that it's ever been before. But that could be because I'm in a same-sex relationship, or because I'm just a lot comfortable with myself. I'm not sure, but
Mm.
it's just, yeah, a relationship, no matter who you're with or who they are, it plays a huge factor.
Yeah. And
I really, really believe it does.
did you ever have a preference with your partners? Like, you know, when you were in a when you were with men and when you were with women, did you ever prefer them hairy or shaved, or like, did you ever care?
Funny that I did, because I thought you were supposed to care.
For men?
That's the funny thing on that.
For
Yes,
men
I
or women?
thought it was
Ah,
for both.
okay.
And because I was in the mindset of it was dirty if it was left grown out. And I think it was just how we were conditioned, and it was just letting it grow out. Just as I said earlier, it wasn't an option, because I saw them as women with underarm hair were either a lesbian or a hippie. They had to be one or
Mm,
the other. It would make me comfortable. It would, because it would make me uncomfortable to see women with
mm,
body hair. But as I said,
yeah.
that was just obviously something inside of me, that was something was going on that I had to work out. And I guess as you fast forward of what you said as well, it's not that it's a statement, but it also is in its own way. I feel almost proud, because I'm helping normalize for other people. It's,
Yeah.
you have to be uncomfortable before you move past it.
Yeah.
And
And a lot of people say
walking
to
out
us,
with,
you're so brave, you know, you're so courageous, you know, you inspire me. But then, like, do they do anything about it? Or is it just that our actions make them feel a certain way?
mhm. Yeah, that's it actually, and it's a good point. I've been getting that more and more lately, of just, yeah, you're so brave. That's amazing. Women rock their body hair, but oh, I couldn't do that.
Mm,
It's But these women who also say that could be sitting in the shadows and really want to, and I feel like it does take, as you said, your cousin. Sometimes it does take someone in front of you to
mm,
do something that you want to do. And the messages I've been receiving from women a lot more recently of is, I'm such a I've seen this and I've decided not to shave. Oh, and they tell me like, oh, I actually shaved, I caved. But I'm like,
mm.
that's just, let it all out. Tell me. If you want to shave, that's fine. Give it a go again next week.
Yeah.
Like, try it again next holidays.
Mm.
It's okay.
And it is cool to, like, you found a moment in your life, which was lockdown, to
Mm-hmm.
start exploring this. So maybe the women who are, you know, in the northern hemisphere and they're going into their cooler months while we're going into our warmer months, you can start letting your hair grow out because you won't be wearing, you know, singlets and your bikini, and just start to explore. And it's also easier in the cooler months. You're not sweating as much. It probably won't be as uncomfortable just to start exploring these waters of having natural hair. And that, you know, whatever you need to do to take those steps doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be stop shaving and wear a singlet and just, you know, do it. You
Mm-hmm.
can take your baby steps. So maybe going into winter, give it a go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one by one. It is baby steps. And for me, it was first not shaving my legs. And I
Mm,
still remember I hadn't shaved my I'm not sure if I had stopped shaving by this point or not, but I have this one memory of finishing my yoga teacher training. I graduated and I walked down to the beach with everyone, and I put on my bikinis, took my pants off, and realized I hadn't shaved my bikini line. I was overwhelmed with shame. This was last
mm,
year. And I just kept covering up, and I was just this push pull of just put your pants back on, put your pants back on. But I stood my own ground. It was this argument in my own head. People probably thought I looked like a weirdo, just like back and forth. What do I do? But I think back to that and what was going on.
yeah.
It was myself, this overwhelming shame of having, God forbid, pubic hair that
Mm,
was shown, that was seen. And so that just comes down to, it's a journey. It is a journey with
yeah.
yourself. more than others. And I feel like, I just want to say this personally, I feel like I put the blame on others. Yes, I'm receiving judgment from others, but I put the blame on their judgment rather than the internal feelings of myself. It's just, this is what I have to deal with first, but yet I was just like, oh, I can't deal with their judgment, or can I not deal with my own judgment?
Yeah.
That's
It
comes
so,
down to that huge.
yeah. And I found that at age 25, when I started stepping into my self-love journey and self-acceptance journey, the coming to terms with my body hair, finding that power within myself, then also allowed me to find my power for so many other areas of my life. You know, like the power that came with owning my body hair then trickled into every other area. So I then started looking at my body in a different way. My shame around my stomach, you know, I started to learn self-acceptance. I started to treat my body with a different level of self-love. And it started to shift all the old patterns in my mind just around my body, because self-acceptance can mean, you know, it's such an umbrella term for so many things. It can be your body image, it can be your, you know, your hair, it can be the way that you think people judge you. There's just so many things that are intertwined with just finding that self-acceptance.
100%. It's just, yeah, I'm with you just since my body hair journey. And yeah, I've been inside and locked down, of course,
Yeah.
but it's shown so much more. Just so many things have come up, just as you said, around my body, about the way I view myself, self-acceptance. And although I'm terrified about stepping back into the workspace, I'm freaking excited. It's just, I'm ready for the next thing. And it's just like, I stepped
Yeah.
outside the first time in shorts and walked to the shops, and I was like, oh, maybe I should pants on. But I was just like, I was feeling myself. I was like, I can relax. I got to the shops. We go for a
Yeah.
walk. And, but also, what is so funny, after I'd contacted you, I went down to the park and I met, and didn't realize she was so young, but met an 18-year-old. And the first thing I saw was her legs. And I was like, oh, I wonder if my thought process, I wonder if she shaves under her arms. She'd put her arms up. She didn't shave under her arms either. And she was like, oh, yeah, I'm only 18 years old. I stopped shaving at 12. And this is who I am. I was like, holy fucking Christ. What? And she's like, yeah, I don't want to. It's who I am. And I was just like, good fucking on you. And I was just like, it was almost this, again, it's meeting someone else that just empowers you and going, I can do this. I
Yeah.
can really do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
It's a beautiful feeling.
And we've got so many topics to talk about on this story that we are going to make this a part 1 and part 2. So we've got so many different, I don't even want to like, what have we written down? Let me just see here. So next week we're going to be talking more in depth on the decisions to shave that comes from social conditioning.
I got my notes.
yeah, we're going to be talking about, like, does it affect BO, irritation versus the thought of it just being gross. We're going to be talking about choice versus expectations. Is body hair dirty? Things that you can do, like natural remedies for BO. Like, a lot of women were saying, I feel like I'm more stinkier and I sweat more and I don't, you know, because also when you start growing your body hair, I think you're kind of moving towards a more natural life. So you probably will also stop using store-bought chemical deodorants. And so a lot of women also were asking, what's your natural solution for, you know, BO? So we've got that to talk about. Oh my God, just so many things. And I'm sure over the next week leading up to part 2, we're going to get more questions.
Absolutely. And on natural deodorant, that the transition is a journey in itself. Women who have transitioned to natural deodorant, oh my God, I thought something was wrong with me.
It takes a while.
It was horrible, but it's, again,
yeah, it gets worse before it gets
worth
better.
it. That's a conversation for later. Yeah, 100% worth it.
Yeah.
But no, so many things to talk about, especially since last thing I just want to bring up is that you did open this conversation up to a women's group. And next week, I want to talk about the responses we received, the mixed and quite concerning responses we did receive from women about this. And
yeah,
just surprising, this negative, extremely positive, but extremely negative as well. And yeah, but that's going to be a conversation for next week.
yeah. So maybe to finish off, we can answer like one thing that you and I spoke about, and we'll probably use this topic to close today. But when you posted your first body hair photo on your Instagram, and you got a lot of people saying, just do what makes you happy. Now that you and I could see through that answer because of the work that we've done. And a lot of women in this group would probably say that. And it's not a bad thing to say, but you just have to break those words down, because we have to be very aware of our conditioned answer to things like this. And yes, do whatever makes you happy. But the thing that you and I picked up in that statement is that we don't actually know what makes us happy around our relationship to body hair, because from the day we are born, we have been told that it is wrong, dirty, gross, not feminine. We get put into a box if you have body hair. So for us to answer for you to answer the question, say, oh, just do whatever makes you happy, and shaving makes me happy. Take a step back and really think about that answer, because we don't actually know what makes us happy until we've experienced the other side of it. Society has just told us that that is what makes us happy. So yeah, do you want to share anything on that, Jess?
Well, that's quite a deep one for me. It's probably one we'll trickle into next week. But to me, I really looked at that and going, it's such a blanket approach to something someone may not understand. And it's doing what makes you happy. What if we did anything that just made us happy? God, we would be a wild world. And we can't even go into deep of this. Like, if you threw that at everyone, do what makes you happy. God, marriages would be ending all over the place. But anyway, it's just the people who gave me this response were ones that either women who who chose to shave, or men who also ended with, but I prefer my women shaved, but you do what makes you happy. And simple answer. It was just a blanket approach. And it's, as I think you covered it, it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple. What was also, do what makes you happy, and if you don't want to shave, then don't shave. I find that answer also very aggressive. It's a journey. It's a journey we move through, and again, we don't know what's on the other side. We're moving through it. We're moving through a lot. And support is sometimes your support. You don't need to say something like that to support someone. Just kind of going, okay, cool, see you later. Like, nothing necessarily needs to be said. And I think it kind of comes down to, they say those things to put us in a category also.
Yes. And it's not coming, like, I know people who answer like that. It's not coming from no, it sounds condescending and a little bit, what's the other word? Patronizing. Although it's not coming from that kind of place. It's just coming from a place of lack of knowledge, lack of awareness. Like, they're not saying it to be condescending or patronizing, but it comes across like that sometimes. And do what makes you happy. I mean, when I stopped shaving, it didn't make me happy. It was really hard, like, it wasn't a happy experience. It was very difficult. And then I became happy. So it's not, this is why we want you to think deeper on that, because you're not just going to say, okay, I'm going to stop shaving today and be like, no.
I'm so happy.
That's just not how it works. So we're also just helping to bring awareness to the way that you answer people, or the way that you talk to people who are challenging the norm, because we should be the norm. We're not the ones that are, have been herded like sheep to be a certain way. We're the ones that are trying to fight back the stigma to be how nature intended us to be.
No, that's it. That's it. And I think it's probably a good way to wrap things up as well. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that, and let's keep going next week. So yeah, we'll probably reach out to a few women. We'll probably put out a bit of a Q&A to see if there's anything any women want us to answer on this, because I'm getting so many women in my inbox that are just like, I'm with you. I just don't know what to do. So there's definitely so much more to speak about on this.
Yes. And if you have any questions, upload, like once this is uploaded, throw them in the comments. If you're a woman who shaves and you've been through your journey of, let's say, not shaving, and you've come back to the decision to shave, we'd also love to hear from you, because you know, you've got two people here that are wanting to be natural, and we also, you know, your story is valid, it's worthy. We want to hear from you as well. If you're watching the replay, please hashtag replay. Follow Jessie on Instagram. Her handle is She's Naked Again. Is there dots in there? She's .naked again.
Yeah. So 4th round on Instagram, it is now She's .naked again.
Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, give Jessie a follow, and we'll be back this time next Wednesday. So send in all your questions. We've got some people commenting now. Shelley, great conversation, eye-opening. It's more than just about body hair. It's a journey. So grateful for this live. Yay. And Lauren, also from GNA. Hey, sister. What does she say? Thank you. I really enjoyed this convo and partway through my journey, and I'm quite nervous, but also happy. It's so conflicting. Yep. Ride the waves, sister. Ride the waves.
We're 50, 100%.
You're not alone. No one's alone. No. So thank you, Jessie, for your time.
Oh, I've loved this. I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Until next time. Mwah. Lots of love, sisters.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.